Oh, yes.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we're taking a look at the brand new Marvel Legends controller Build-A-Figure wave, Iron Man. That's right, I've taken a brief pause from doing the Spider-Man anniversary stuff to finally break into this controller wave now that I have all the figures from the wave. And we are starting out with the anchor figure of the wave. This is Iron Man, specifically Mark 70. So a brief little bit of history there. The Mark 70 Iron Man suit was created by Tony Stark during a little bit of a soul-searching sabbatical he went on. Kind of got rid of most of his Iron Man suits and just went back down to basics. So it is very similar to a lot of his much older suits, right? His really classic look. Interestingly, the suit eventually got possessed or assimilated, whatever you call it, by a symbiote that Tony had infected with the Extremis virus to remove it from the symbiote hive mind and utilize it, and it ended up bonding with his suit. And it's a really, really cool design and a really cool concept, and I am hoping, now that they've released the regular Mark 70 armor, that they might release what they call the Extrembiote version. Maybe they will. I think it's a cool look. Maybe they'll do it in like an upcoming, Venom wave or something like that. But for now, we get just the regular suit, and it's very nice looking. That being said, if you've seen my reviews before, you know how this goes. We're going to take a look at this Iron Man's packaging, then we'll open it up. We'll get a really good look at the figure itself. We'll check out its posability, its accessories. Naturally, I'll be doing some group shots and comparisons today. And then at the end of the video, I'll get my final thoughts. So this new Iron Man comes in your standard Marvel Legends packaging. You get your controller call out up here. On the very top of the box, you get the Iron Man symbol, just the helmet. We get the figure right here in the window. And you can see it comes with 2 extra hands, with just closed fist. Comes with his little repulsor blasts, and he comes with that little smoke effect seen on figures like the 20th anniversary Iron Man, this time done up in a clear color. You just get the comics Iron Man logo at the bottom. On the sides, you get some really nice, very well shaded artwork of Tony Stark in this Mark 70 armor. A lot of cool flame effects and stuff going on. You can see his eyes, the little slits in the mask. On the back, we get a more zoomed out version of that artwork where you can see pretty much the whole suit. He does appear to have some sort of jet booster things on the back, very similar to those seen on the MCU Iron Man suits. So pretty neat looking. It's kind of an interesting blend of the vintage Iron Man and then some inspiration from the live action stuff. It has a very panelly plated look to it, which does kind of scream MCU to me. All right, then we get the character's name along with some flavor text. And that reads, Tony Stark resolves to get back to basics, donning a new stripped-down Iron Man armor inspired by his most classic designs. So, kind of like I said, he's just having, some sort of weird midlife crisis or something, and kind of pulls a move similar to what happened at the end of Iron Man 3, where he blew up all of his crazy different Iron Man suits. Of course, he did go on to just rebuild a bunch more, but that's besides the point. That's what happens when a studio or an actor changes their mind mid-franchise. Sometimes plot points just get reversed or go nowhere. And in his case, it just got reversed, and he's like, you know what? I don't need the Iron Man suit. Oh wait, actually I do. He's just been using the suits ever since. All right, down here we get our render of the controller Build-A-Figure. This big ugly mug. Then we get the figure cross-sells for the wave. So we get this Iron Man figure, which being an anchor figure comes with no piece of the bath. We get our Herald Thor. So this is when Thor gets turned into a Herald of Galactus and is in, if not his most powerful form, one of his most powerful forms. We get Blue Marvel, Madam Hydra, Speedball. We get Quake, who interestingly has parts to double as Maria Hill from S.H.I.E.L.D. And then we get the U.S. Agent, who is a pretty prominent character due to his profile being raised during the Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV show. So now we're getting a new comic book version of him after they just did a bunch of MCU figures and stuff. So it's a really cool wave. It's kind of all over the place, really. You have Iron Man, you have Thor, you have a new mutant character, you get S.H.I.E.L.D., a Captain America character. I mean, just all over the place with this wave. There's really not a centralized theme to this one, which is, it's fine. Not every wave has to have a theme. I do like that they are all comic book characters. No random Gamerverse stuff thrown in there. I mean, Gamerverse is fine, but I feel like that should kind of stick to its own wave. And, let a comic wave be a comic wave, let an MCU wave be an MCU wave. That's just me. Hasbro probably knows what they're doing on the marketing side more than I do. So yeah, really, really nice packaging. Again, stellar artwork. It's very, very cool. Actually, wouldn't mind a poster of this because it looks great. But now it's time to go ahead and open this up. Now we get to see our Iron Man figure out of the box. And we see his additional accessories here. You get his pulsar blast, the closed fist, and then the smoke effects right there. And yeah, this figure is very solid looking. Very, very thick and just looks like it could take a bit of a beating, which is nice. So pick it up. It's got some heft to it, which is nice. The head is on your ball joint and hinge combo, which is pretty standard stuff. And the neck, it looks like even moves around too, which is also very, very nice. Lots of articulation. The shoulders are universal, and what's cool is these shoulder plates, they kind of just overlap the little chest plate or torso area, and they're kind of soft, so they got some give to them. Now, I wouldn't recommend like continuously lifting his arms way out to the side, because I feel like you would put a permanent bend in this. But it's cool how they, gave it away to have the clearance needed to lift up and move. He's got the bicep swivel, which is nice. Double elbow bend. Now this is really neat. So these are the pulsar blast hands, which are pretty standard fare for an Iron Man, right? Where they have the port right there, the hands mostly open. But they actually have a hinge in the wrist, which is the first time I've seen that personally. I know on like my 20th anniversary, his pulsar blast hands, they're like a solid piece. So they seem to have found a way to engineer that in, which is cool because now they're more universal. They can just be like regular open hands. You can do lots more with it. He has an upper ball joint in the torso. No waist articulation. He's got universal hips, which actually split out very far. Very nice. A thigh swivel, double knee bend, a boot swivel, and what I am from here on out referring to as universal ankles, which is a rock and a swivel like that. I don't know if that's the correct term. I don't care. It's a lot more fun than saying hinge or was it ankle rock and rotation over and over again. So from now on, for universal ankles, that's what I'm going with. So overall, a very nice Iron Man figure. He's got presence, he's got great coloration in the plastic colors. The mask is well painted on the eye slits and like the little cheek and mouth areas. It's got these cool, like glowing white effects. You got the one in the center of the chest, right? The whole arc reactor thing. Got little ones here. He's got them on both sides of the elbows, on his hips, and on both sides of his boots. So there's a lot going on here. It's a fairly busy design, and again, it is, in my opinion, just kind of classic Iron Man with a little bit of MCU flavor because he's far more just complex looking than an old school Iron Man armor, and I really like it. I think it's being done to great effect here. So now we got to mess around with his blast effects and everything. So make sure his hands are facing the right way. You want to get these around the wrists, which may be easier to do by like kind of wrapping them around first, then plugging the hands in. May actually be the best way to go. Let's try that. Get that in there. Get the hand in. Again, something like this maybe. And then you get your pulsar blast on the inside. Make sure the smoke trail wraps around it for full effect. Get something like this, which is really cool. I like the clear smoke. Kind of prefer it over the black smoke. It just looks cleaner and I like it. I like the way it came out. Kind of has an icy effect to it. So yeah, get this hand in there. There you go. Okay. Blast effect. Wrap it up. And we get something like this. This looks really cool. Again, very similar to like the 20th anniversary or, some of the other recent Iron Man or Iron Man adjacent characters. And I just like it. I think it's a good look. It's a very cool effect. I know some people don't like the smoke effect. And on the one hand, it is kind of weird because I don't know why there would be smoke. I'm pretty sure it's just firing lasers, but you can keep it or leave it. I think it fleshes out the pulsar blasts, which are kind of small and puny looking on their own. So if you don't like to use these, I'm sure you can repurpose those smoke effects for something else. And I'm sure they'll look cool on like a variety of other toys. So up to you what you want to do there. And then of course we got to look at the closed fists. So we'll pop these off. Luckily, they come off pretty easily. Don't have to fight with the peg or anything. And they're just regular closed fists. They have a hinge. They're plated, like his fist should be in his suit. And you can use them for dramatic effect or some sort of a fighting pose. Yeah, I think this is an awesome looking Iron Man figure. Like, it has everything I like. I love the gold coloration. I'm not a fan of the flat yellow used on the 20th anniversary. Like, again, it's classic, but it's just not as visually appealing. It's got the nice deep, like, sports car reds, all sorts of mechanical detailing, yet very posable at the same time. So, really digging this. And here's a fun little shot of our Mark 70 armor flying through the sky, with the help of the ever-useful base that was included with the live-action Black Widow toy from the recent Black Widow movie. And yeah, man, this thing's got some versatility to it. You can have fire blast effects attached if you want to, or you can just use it as a nice clear base. So this is going to be seen in a lot of my videos for flying characters, because, I mean, why not? It's a clear base, it holds them up pretty well. That, what I would call kind of wrist joint of the claw is a little weak and kind of wants to dip down, and the ratchet could be stronger there. But overall, it's not a bad base. It's not the best one. You know, I could find some sturdier ones out there that are better as a flying base, but this gets the job done, and it helps this guy look really, really cool, and you know, you can pull off some really nice poses of Iron Man, flying through the air, or like leaping down, firing stuff at people, whatever you want to do. Here we get a really nice group shot with the 20th anniversary Iron Man, celebrating the 20th anniversary of, you know, Marvel Legends. And this figure is based far more on one of Iron Man's classic appearances, and as such has a much simpler design, because comic art just was not as intricate back then as it is now. One thing that I was never really crazy about with this design is the arm and leg portions. They're very organic looking. It doesn't look like he's wearing a suit of armor. Like, yeah, the boots, the gloves, the helmet, you know, torso area, those all look like a metal suit of armor. And then this all just looks like spandex. And maybe they did that because it was just easier to draw it that way back then, I'm not sure. But it is kind of hard to believe that that is a full suit of armor. This new toy, however, you can see is clearly mechanical in nature, and you can see the classic inspiration that went into this. The color layout is pretty much the same. A lot of the design cues are the same as far as the decorations on the chest there. A lot of like the plated look on the boots and the gloves and all that, especially around here, like the pelvic region. And then he does a little interesting twist on the yellow limbs. Instead of just being pure yellow, it's red, like red pleated metal with a gold or yellow over armor. So it's mimicking the classic design while still finding a way to just modernize that look and give something that looks a little more protective than, you know, a tin can looking suit. So I'm not here to, you know, disparage the classic look or anything, but I am very much a fan of the more updated look to the Iron Man suits rather than the old stuff. The old stuff, in my opinion, was a little bit corny looking, and I had a hard time believing this was supposed to be some marvel of technology. This, however, yeah, very much so. So I didn't pull this guy out just to bash him or anything. I just wanted to give a nice contrast of the classic look with a classic feel, and then the classic look with a more modern feel. And I think they both have their pros and cons. I will say I actually prefer the blue repulsor blast of this toy over the yellow. I think yellow just blends with the armor a little bit too much. But I also prefer the clear smoke effects of this toy over, you know, the blackish ones of that. So, you know, it's kind of give and take for me. And of course, if you have these both, you can kind of mix and match to your heart's content. You can make sure you get the perfect energy and smoke effects for, you know, whichever one you want to display. And they're both solid toys. But I do find myself appreciating this one just a bit more. It's more to my liking. And this completes our look at the new Mark 70 Iron Man armor from Marvel Legends. I think this is a really, really great Iron Man figure. And if you are a fan of either the MCU or the comics, I think you can find a place for this guy on your shelf because he draws enough inspiration from both sources to where he can really blend in either collection. So he's very versatile for that. I also love the posability on this guy. I love like the added articulation in the neck beyond just the head articulation, you know, the neck itself moves around. I love the fact that the repulsor hands actually have a hinge on them so they can do more than just point straight forward with the palm. He can, you know, have them rest at his side. He can aim a little bit. it just looks really good. The blast effects are really nice. I do like that clear smoke effect. It looks a lot better than the dirtier looking smoke, because you don't usually want to picture heroes go around like polluting the atmosphere. I love the sculpted detail on this guy. I love the layering on the limbs, and he's very, very stable, more so than the 20th anniversary figure. So yes, huge fan of this. I think it is one of the best, if not the best, like standard Iron Man figures out there. So I think if you are an Iron Man fan or a Marvel Legends collector, you very much owe it to yourself to pick this guy up. You may think about sleeping on him because he doesn't come with a bath piece and he's just kind of there in the wave. But usually there's a reason the anchor figure is the anchor. It's because it's either like a really popular character or a really solid figure that doesn't have to have its budget divided with a bath piece. And this guy, you can tell a lot of love went into him. So yeah, highly recommend picking him up. I don't think you'll be disappointed with this release at all. Of course, that is just my opinion on this Iron Man. So now I want to know what you all think of this toy. Do you consider this a very solid entry in an Iron Man collection or Marvel collection? Do you think that the aesthetic on this guy really works for you? Or do you not want this? Maybe you just don't want yet another Iron Man, you're happy with what you have, you don't like the way this one came out. Any and all feedback is always welcome in that comment section. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to toss it a like. Let YouTube know you want to see more stuff like this. If you do want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. I thank you for joining me for this look at the brand new Marvel Legends Controller Build-A-Figure Wave, Iron Man. And with all that said, I will see you next time.